Matthew, yours? Do you have one?
Well, all that, but there were so many moments. But I just was right now for some reason remembering. At the end of Act 1, there's all the kind of couples are on. There's this quartet. What would we call it? The quintet, or where there's all the different kind of musical themes from the first act happen. It's kind of a takeoff of West Side Story. But in the middle of all this music, it's the first time you hear the theme, dun, 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 dun. And I remember it was so exciting. You remember that? Turning around and we would see this big set, this big light up, Springtime for Hitler, Bialystok and Bloom present. And it was very exciting to see it. It was like, wow, it was the show, but it was also, we're in the producers, we're in Mel Brooks's producers, and there's that music. I used to love that every night. It made me so happy.
Joe, I know you didn't direct it, obviously. Susan Stroman directed and choreographed it, but did you have a favorite moment from the producers that you can recall now?
Was it me?
This is a dangerous question.
You can pass.
I'll tell you about, let's talk about The Odd Couple. My favorite moment with Nathan in The Odd Couple doesn't have anything to do with anything that happened on stage. I went up to his dressing room during previews, and he was in his costume, and he had that Fireside Theater copy of the script that I'm sure he'd read hundreds and hundreds of times. And there he was, kind of dressed as Oscar, sort of going over it. And he showed me in the, can I tell him what? Yeah, he showed me in the front of the book that it said Joe Lane, which is Nathan's real name. And there was something so vulnerable about it. And with Matthew, we were in previews, and we were talking about something. I don't remember what it was. I was up in his dressing room, and it was something about the show. And he stopped in the middle of it. And he had an envelope, and I was saying, I think in that scene, I was trying to direct something, and he in the middle of it, he just handed me a picture of his son. And it was just really, there was something so vulnerable about that as well. And I just thought, I don't know. I mean, those are the things that I remember. That's why, when we were talking about critics, the reviews, you forget about them, but those things are sort of seared into my memory of this experience, and that's what I get to carry away.
And a very interesting, helpful thing, I remember that. I showed him this picture, and you also brought up that happens in the play. With me and the Pigeon Sisters, which was a difficult scene, and I was having some trouble, and it was extremely helpful. So his mind is always, which is good, it's great. I mean, it was unconscious on my part, and he made it conscious.
Nathan, there was already a Joe Nathan, I think, right? I mean, a Joe Lane, and yes. You changed your name to Nathan.
Yes, there was. From
Nathan Detroit, wasn't it? From Guys and Dolls?
Yes, it was. Yes, that was the reason. So when I went into Actors Equity, there was they said there was already a Joseph Lane, and I would have to change my name, and I remember thinking, oh Jesus, who will I be? And I had played, like in a dinner theater, a non-equity dinner theater. I had played Nathan Detroit, and I liked him, and I had played Benjamin Franklin in Summer Stock. So I was either going to be Nathan or Benjamin, and I said, just give me a minute. And I went back and I said, Nathan, I'll be Nathan Lane.
To both of you, would you consider switching the roles, switching parts in The Odd Couple?
Much more work than it seems like. That it's not so easy. Like, I think it sounds like you could just sort of flip over, but it would almost require a whole nother rehearsal process in a way,
I think it would.
It would be. It's difficult.
Yeah, well,
like the blocking gets built around. It's not so easy to just
Yes, you would
They
have.
did that in True West.
Yeah, I guess it can be.
But it was conceived to be like that, and so. But I think even
Yeah.
in True West, I don't think that.
But they rehearsed
Did
for
they
like
do the
2
same
months, didn't they?
staging?
No, I don't think they did. I don't think they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a question for Nathan Lane. How can you work with Robin Williams and get any work done? And I'm assuming that's a question about the birdcage. Had you worked with
Right.
him outside the birdcage?
No. Oh God, you know he's no, he's a total professional, and I mean what's great about him on a movie set is that, you know, he's you know, very entertaining, and you know he keeps the energy up, and he's you know but he's a total pro. I mean when they you know they say action, he's there, and he was, you know, he's just a great guy, and a wonderful, he's a wonderful actor, and he was so generous, you know, to me on that movie. And look, if it wasn't for, it really was, the movie started out, it was supposed to be, Steve Martin was going to play the part that Robin played, and Robin was going to play that part. And then Steve Martin had another thing he had to do, and then Robin said and his wife discussed it, and he said, I think I should play the other part, and then that's how it opened up, and they thankfully thought of me, and so, you know, but he's incredibly generous, and just, you know, he's a great person to work with, and believe me, he's a hard worker, and but great fun to be around.
Who are some of your favorite co-stars? Can you sort of name them? Couple here and there that you've worked with before? Or does that put you on the spot too much?
No, it's just, you know, it's that thing when they ask you and you go, well, I mean, you know, who?
Him.
Oh, well, you. I'm very fond of him. And Faith Prince, you know, Guys and Dolls, and geez, Louis Stadlin. You know, I've done 5 or 6 plays with, and you know.
Me again.
And you.
Anybody come to mind?
Can't think of anyone.
Not anybody in the near in the
Nathan,
neighborhood?
you know, Nathan. Have you ever heard of Marlon Brando? I worked with Marlon.
Yes, of course. You've worked with him
Great
in The
actor.
Freshman. In the film The Freshman.
He learned a lot from me.
Tell a good Marlon Brando story.
Yeah.
What was that one? Tell the one about, you know, doing the close-up.
Oh, you probably. Do you want to hear the one? I'm sorry. Did somebody say? Did I hear a no? Did I hear a no? Well, when I worked with Marlon Brando, I had one scene with Bruno Kirby, another actor, and myself. We had a long scene across the table with him. And we were shooting all day, and we shot the master. We shot close-ups of Bruno and me. And then the camera was turning around on Marlon, and they said, "Can you and Bruno go home, because we want to get you here early in the morning, and we can do Marlon's close-up, and you don't really have to be here for it, so we'd like you to go home so we can call you early tomorrow." And we said, well, we have to check with Marlon Brando. I'm not going to not be here for his close-up. Marlon Brando, I have to check with him. So I went up we both did, and either Bruno or I said, you know, Marlon, they want us to leave, but we'll stay here for free, you know, to be off camera on your close-up. Is it okay with you if we go home? And he said, I prefer it. Right. He said, I find having another actor there, it makes me self-conscious. He preferred working with a piece of white tape to working with me and Bruno Kirby.